Uh, and then the other thing is, I did want to say one more thing, is that, never mind. So the other thing is just, again, try to figure out what's fun to think about, what you like best most of the time. And again, I've highlighted most of the time because the other sort of fallacy that I realize is that, I used to go to talks like you, and people would come up here and give, these sort of motivational talks, and they'd say, I am so passionate about my field. I've always wanted to be a physicist. It's my great love and my great passion. And I would sit in the audience and think, well, I'm not that passionate about it. Maybe I shouldn't be here. I think you do find people who are very, very passionate about what they do all the time. But those people are extremely fortunate and extremely rare. Right? The rest of us pretty much like what we do a lot of the time. Not all the time. Maybe not even 70%, maybe 65% of the time we really like what we do, and the rest it can be sort of hard or just okay. So if you find, what you like to do, think about what you'd like to think about most of the time, that's a pretty good thing, right? You're doing pretty well. You don't have to have it be the light of your life to go on in the field. And again, if you think about other jobs, right, doing something you like most of the time is a pretty good thing. So keep that in mind. The thing I mentioned before is what was really pivotal for me in college, what actually got me through these sort of hard problem sets and hard times, was experience doing the thing that I really liked, which was working in the lab. I did summer internships starting from my junior year in high school all the way through graduate school, right? I did 5 of these things. I worked at the biochemistry lab at Rice University. I worked at Exxon Production Research when I lived in Houston. I worked at General Atomics doing plasma physics in San Diego. I worked at AT&T Bell Labs for several summers in New Jersey. These were just fantastic opportunities to get hands-on experience, to see role models, to get mentors. A lot of these programs were specifically targeted for women or minorities, so it was a really good peer group of people like me who maybe didn't expect to be where they were, but were succeeding, were challenging themselves, were trying to do well, who were supporting each other. Again, you get to see the fun of real research versus classwork. It allows you to think about what area of your field that you're interested in. So I really strongly encourage. In fact, how many of the undergrads here have done summer research? Anyone? Okay, good. So I'm going to push this thing. It's really important. You can do it at your own university, right? You can stay here for the summer and work with someone, I think. There are opportunities for that, right? Get some hands-on experience, get to know your professors even better, get to work with other students. There are RUs across the country. These are really key. It gives you experience. It allows you to see what's fun outside of the classroom, right? Like me in biochemistry, you may not like the specific thing you're working on, but it gives you a sense of what you do like. It's really important, really fun. For me, it was crucial, and I strongly encourage you to get your own experiences. Okay, where am I? And then I went to graduate school. So at first I had this slide as I went to graduate school talking about it, then I realized, well, this is not really an obvious choice, right? I mean, I don't know how many of you are thinking about graduate school, but it's a choice you have to make at some point. So I thought I'd put here a few reasons why you might want to think about advanced degrees in the sciences. I hope I've shown you why you definitely want to stay in your field and work hard and graduate and do as well as you can. And then you may want to consider an advanced degree. I mean, honestly, in the sciences, advanced degrees are really crucial to getting a stable job, right? It's as you know, the economy is not so robust right now. It's really a key to being able to do something it's a really key to having more choices in life. Okay, if you get an advanced degree, you will have more job opportunities, many more than you would otherwise. Okay, you will also be able to delve deeply into your field. So advanced degrees are crucial, I think, to stable, well-paid, really interesting positions. With a BA in engineering, you can, do research and development on something specific that someone tells you what to do. With a PhD in engineering, you can choose your own research line within a company and be their development person, right? That's the difference in these things. I did think of other professional schools. I thought if I wanted to go to law school or medical school or business school, again, they just didn't stimulate me intellectually in the same way, didn't have the lifestyle that I wanted. And I also just wanted to research. I liked research. I wanted to learn about my field, wanted to get advanced training. It's a great chance to sort of be paid, not very much, but be paid to learn, to think, right, to be in an academic environment. So here's my pros and cons of grad school here. It's intellectually stimulating. Again, it's very flexible. You can go on vacation in the middle of the week if you really want to. It's an academic community, which is a very, that's a thoughtful, good community to be in, and a PhD is powerful, right? Once you have a PhD, it's something no one takes away from you. You can do a lot with that. The cons is a lot of work, again. It's relatively low pay. I mean, you're not expected to make a lot of money, so I think it's okay. But if you want to make tons right away, it's hard. It's not easy to be intellectually challenged all the time. It's another 5 years of thinking a lot all the time, right? So you have to be ready, mentally prepared for that. And, maybe you're tired of the ivory tower. I'll say more about this later. I think there are ways of finding support groups and finding life outside of grad school that can combat all of these cons. And for me, I found it definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. And I think for most people, if you're ready to work and if you're interested in what you do, it's a really good way to go. Okay, so I went to graduate school at Stanford. There's a campus. It was pretty. So I chose to go there partly because it was sort of cushy, and I knew I'd be working really hard, so I didn't want to have to deal with snow. Not that it doesn't. You could make your own choices, but that was my decision. It was a good department. My PhD was on superconductor metal insulator transitions in 2D. I worked on two-dimensional superconductors. Again, I chose to focus on condensed matter experiment, mostly because that's what I had really good experiences in summer research in. So I wanted to continue to learn about that field and to try to contribute to that area. What do I want to say about grad school? You can ask me more questions about grad school. I just want to say you can have a decent life in grad school. I had a good time in grad school, in retrospect partly, but even at the time it was good. I met my husband in grad school. I joined a dance troupe. I hung out with friends. I worked in the lab. I got a lot done. It was a good experience. It was a good experience. It was not. It was 5.5, almost 6 years of my life, and they were good years. I learned a lot. I had fun. It's not a bad thing. Okay, so then I did a postdoc at Harvard after that. I do mention that I chose to go back to Boston. At that point, I had a fiance, and we chose Boston based on his job. He wanted to go back to school, and I'll come back to this later about how you work with your partner in academia and these sort of things. But he had waited for me for 3 years to graduate to get my PhD. We both knew that I'd be looking for academic jobs. Those were hard to get, so this was his chance to choose to do what he wanted to do, and I was going to be flexible. It's really good to work together with someone if you know that these things are coming up, to balance. If you have a partner or family considerations, any of those things, think in advance about how to make it work best for you as a family, not just you. So we actually went back to Boston because he wanted to go to graduate school there. And then I found a postdoc there afterwards. It worked out really well for me, but that was why we went back there. So I did a postdoc at Harvard for 1 year. I was elected to the Society of Fellows there, which is it's a fellowship that gives you 3 years funding for independent research, which is really wonderful. And you have these fancy dinners once a week. So my husband called it a social reward for people who spent college working too hard. that was basically, that was actually really wonderful. And then I took about 6 months off and had my first daughter, and she's there in a bunny suit, I think. And then I joined the faculty at the University of Illinois. Even after my postdoc, I did think a little bit about other jobs I might want to take. I considered working at a research job in industry. I guess that's all I really thought about. But those weren't quite as flexible in terms of doing things that I wanted to do as an academic job was. And once again, I thought, well, I'm interested in the research. I like the academic lifestyle. I've heard sort of scary things about how hard people work. They can't have families. They can't do this. But again, what's the worst that's going to happen? Let me try to do my best, right? Let me try to do the things that I want to do in the best way I can, in the most organized way, prioritizing things in my life, and then see what happens. If it doesn't work out, then I have a PhD in physics. I'll get a job, right? It's not going to be terrible. If it does work out, then that's great.